Hi, and welcome to Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm playing along with the Counterfeit Kit Challenges. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have been invited to be a guest designer for the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. I will have a link to the Counterfeit Kit blog in the description of this video, where you can find everything that you need to make your own kit and play along with the challenges this month. Every month on the blog, each master forger will create a personalized kit using the items they already have in their scrapbook supplies. Then they provide various challenges throughout the month to inspire each other to actually go and use those kits. I will also put a link to the Facebook group where members can post their take on the kit and the challenges for each month. I will also have a link down there to the video where I curated my counterfeit kit this month, so you can check that out as well. And I hope that you will participate and play along with this super fun challenge. So this month we curated our kits based on the Farmhouse Summer collection by Cartabella. And like I said, I have a video about that. I'll have it linked in the description. And then we have the thing that I kind of went with was the mood and feel. So I had this farmer's market collection. I had used it several times, so it wasn't a full collection anyways, but I went ahead and kind of used that to match colors and such. But it gave me that same mood and feel. So we are going to start with our photos. So our challenge for today is National Friendship Day. So recently, I think National Friendship Day is, I looked it up, what did it say, July 30th? And so we recently celebrated National Friendship Day. And so the challenge today was to create a layout celebrating a friendship, old or new. And so I picked these super cute photos of my grandkids and their little buddy, and they did so many adventures together for this summer. This was 2022, so these are old photos. None of them look the same well, he kind of does, but he was the oldest. Anyway, but super cute. So they were at the farm, so I was like, oh, that's cute. That goes with my mood and feel too. So I'm going to use those, and we are going to create a layout. So I'm just going to set this aside as kind of just gave you the vibe of what my kit is like. And oh, and I was going to set these aside too. I picked 3 of these because I have 3 3x4 photos that I trimmed just a little bit so that they'll fit on these 3x4 cards as photo mats. So that's how I'm going to be using the 3x4s today. And then I picked this wood grain background. This is also from Echo Park, but not from this collection. It is, what did they call them? Cool wood grains or something like that. I don't know, I already cut off the branding strip, but so they had this past year, Echo Park put out some like mini packs of wood grains. So I think there was different kinds. This was from the Cool Pack. And I think you could buy them open stock as well. So I thought that would be a good addition to my kit because wood grain obviously also gives that vibe of like farm, right? So I think for my first strip, I'm going to layer these 3 patterns on top of each other. So I think for my first one, I'm going to go with the Dots and Stripes Gingham, which is this greenish blue kind of color. It's green, but it's got a little bit of a maybe an aqua kind of tint to it. And I'm just going to cut it at 6 inches. Set that aside. And then I'm going to cut the floral one also. I want it to be 6 inches, but how wide is this? Because I don't want it to be the full 12-inch length either. So this is 11. I mean, that's pretty close. So I'm going to go this way 6 inches. And then I was going to do this one at 10 and a half. So we'll just cut a little sliver off the bottom. could have probably just left it, but you know, I had an idea in my head, so we're gonna roll with it. And then this one I was gonna do again at 6, but I'm gonna layer it. So I want this one to be smaller than this one. So what did I say that one was? 10.5. So I'm gonna go 9.5, maybe 9.25. Let's start with 9.5 because I can always cut another 1/4 inch off if it's too big. There we go. So this is kind of what I'm thinking, is to layer them up something like this here. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. And this is a scrap lift of myself. I should have probably printed off the image. And I think that originally I had used a sketch, but yeah, I don't remember where it was from. So anyways, this is something that I was scrolling through my own Instagram for something else. And I saw this and it had the 3 horizontal 3x4 photos. And I'm like, ooh, I could use that for my next layout because that's what I printed. Okay, so before I lay those down, I want to bring in my stencil. So that was one of the things that was included in the kit, was the stencil. So I'm going to try to use it while I'm thinking about it, right? Oh, and I should probably tell you I'm using ground espresso distress ink today. So not quite black, but not really like I usually do vintage photo, but I wanted this one to be a little bit darker. So I kind of want this kind of in the middle-ish, because that's where I want my first embellishment cluster, is to the left of these papers, but kind of centered. So I'm just going to make a base for my embellishment cluster by going over my stencil in a tone on top of this paper. So then if my papers layer up like this, what is that? And then something like this, then I'm going to want an embellishment cluster here and one down here. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, but to a little bit more to the right. And I think I'm going to do this one a little bit higher up because I'm going to put my title along the bottom right hand corner there. So my embellishments will fall a little bit higher up. There we go. So that is my stencil. So I'm just going to set that aside with my stencil brush and I'll clean those when I'm done. Okay. And then I'm just going to ink the edges in that same ground espresso distress ink. Okay, so before I ink this one and glue it down, I kind of want to do a little bit of a border around it. So I'm just going to grab my grid ruler and a white pen. Did I already take it out? Oh, there it is. And I'm just gonna measure up about a 1/4 inch from the bottom. I'm gonna start a 1/4 inch in, and that's the beauty of a grid ruler. And then I'm gonna turn it and do the same on this side. It'll show up, yes, okay. There we go. So now we have a little border on that one. And we can ink the edges. Okay, so there we have our kind of base of our page. And then we are going to get our photo mats cut and inked up. So this is just another kind of fun way to use cut apart cards, is to use them to mat your photos. I find that there are so many, only so many cut aparts you can get onto a scrapbook page. They're great for titling and stuff too, but if you, you know, aren't going to use all of them, you might as well put them to use in a different way. I could have also used this side, but I feel like the solid colors is kind of more what I was going for. So, and I think I'm going to go with kind of these ones of the 3 of them in the top and bottom, and then this one of the 2 boys kind of off to the side a little. And then I think I'm going to pop that one up. So let me lay these 2 down. And I want to keep them inside of that white border, which means I'm going to have to overlap that center one a little. Okay. Now for my title, I'm going to first pull from, so when we look at what our inspiration for this kit was, one of the things that it had was these die cut words. Are they here? I have the inspiration sheets here. These ones. So it had some of these words, and so I went to my Cricut and cut out some words to give it that same mood and feel. And I used words that I thought I would use. So one of them was together. So let's see. I did run them through the Xyron so that they were sticky already to save us a little bit of time. And then I didn't have any chipboard pieces to go with this. So what I did was I grabbed a thicker in place of the chipboard pieces that were in the sample kit. And I thought I could make my title better together. I didn't have any R's, so I just turned a J upside down. I do that a lot just to make my alphas go a little bit further. Well, I'm not really loving how that J is coming out, so I think I'm going to go to my other plan, which was to use a P. Okay, I like the P with the Frankenstein R better. So this is a letter P, and then I cut apart an X and just measured it up in there and got that kind of leg here to work here. It's at the same angle and such, so it actually doesn't look too bad. I can't really tell. This crack in the chipboard up here looks worse than the actual Frankenstein piece, but all right, so the rest of that X will just go bye-bye. All right, so we have photos and a title. We need some journaling, we need a date, we need some embellishing. So I have here my little bucket of goodies of embellishments that we have from the kit. So one of the things that we did have in the kit was washi. So I should probably pull that over and see if there's anything I want washi for. And I think I might just put a strip of it kind of underlining our title. I'm going to lift this G a little bit. So we got some washi on there. Good. We have, so in lieu of the dies, because I didn't have any of them or anything kind of that I felt like fit the vibe of what they were, I just grabbed some die cut pieces from my swaps over on Ginger's Corner and thought I could use these. And I think for this particular layout, I'm going to use this one, because they were on a hayride right here. So I think that would be really cute just on top of my title here. So the rest of those will have to go on some different layouts. So another thing that was in the kit was chipboard frames. Now I didn't have any chipboard frames that matched with this, but I did grab some from my Vicky Booten stuff. And I think that the only one that's going to fit the vibe of this particular layout is probably this one, and I think it'll balance out that black piece there. And then I think we also have our journaling, which in the original one that I had looked at, I think the journaling was somewhere over here, but I'm thinking the journaling is just going to go here. And then I also had some stamps, and I looked at the other set. It didn't have anything I liked, but I really like this for this layout because we're talking about friendship. And so I thought we could stamp that. And I was thinking it might fit nicely with this particular frame. So we're going to do that. And I would like it to go with these guys and this little goat. I think it's so cute. Oh my gosh. Okay, something like that. And then what I did was I went through the 2 die cut packs that I did have. So I had both the frames and tags for this farmer's market, as well as the ephemera pack. I only found a few things that were relevant to the actual photos that I had chosen. A lot of them are about food and baking, cooking, home, that sort of thing. So I just picked those out, and I think that what I'm going to do is just kind of go along and see if there's anything that I really... Ooh, that might be cute in there. Hey? Look at how nicely that fits. Okay, I'm in. Can stamp my date anywhere, can't I? I like that. Okay, and then we have this little tag. We have so very grateful for this day. We have another frame. So we have a frame here. I don't know if we need more frames. We have a tag. I think the tag could layer up because it's similar to this. I think it could layer up under here. This is us. That might be cute here. This is us making memories. Something like that. I have this little piece. I think that might be too much. Yeah. So that was what I picked. I do have some twine that was in the kit. It was just a piece of twine that was in here. So we're going to maybe use that on the tag. All right. So I'm going to start gluing stuff down. All right. So we got some white pen tracing kind of in the little indents that were in these die cuts, just so they stand out a little bit more, give it a little bit more detail. And then I added some of these gems to these tires just as a little fun something. And then once I got those on there, I felt like they needed to be in more places, so I did add them around. And then I put this, I stamped this Hello Friend using this Jennifer Edwardson stamp set. And it was a little bit too big to stick in behind the frame. So what I did was I cut it into an even 2x2 square, and then I put it on top of the frame. So the frame is still framing it, but it's not in behind, and I think it looks good. So that's what I did with that one. Then I stuck down my journaling here. I put that perfectly fitting little piece in behind this chipboard frame, which is kind of cool. And then I felt like those 2 holes were calling for some brads, so I went and found these 2, I guess they're kind of coppery colored brads, and that's where I decided to also put my little gems for this kind of corner. And then over here, the eyelet kind of matches this coppery color, and then I put a piece of that twine in my tag, tucked it in behind my photo, and then I put this one up on foam so that it's kind of even with this top photo, not tucked under but on top. And then that's where I decided to put the gems for that. And then I thought, well, what we still need is a date, and I was thinking date in here until I found how perfectly those 2 pieces fit together. So let's find another spot to put our date, and I feel like it could go like right inside of here. There, that works. And then I thought maybe I could add some enamel dots, so I could use these ones that are that green color, or I could use these ones that are more the bluish kind of color. I think I like those ones. So let's see. Neat. All right, so we have our large, medium, and small. large, medium, small, and large, medium, small enamel dots. And I feel like those go really well with the coloring on the layout. So I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you're feeling inspired to create a kit from your own scrapbook supplies and play along with the challenges. Again, today was a challenge for National Friendship Day where we were to make a layout celebrating a friendship, old or new, and I feel like we accomplished that today, so that's kind of fun. And I appreciate you hanging out with me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.